So Manal is the founder and CEO of ARABIZE and one of the very first Egyptian entrepreneurs in language technology. She built up her company from a 3-employee company established in Cairo in 1994 to a multi-country operation across the Middle East and Europe. She has a 30-year experience in the field of translation, localization, and documentation, and she has mentored many generations of localizers and technical writers. Due to her outstanding achievements in the IT services sector, Manal was crowned the African ICT champion in 2013 and was ranked 77th among the 200 most powerful women in the Middle East by Forbes Middle East magazine in 2014 for her outstanding presence, enthusiasm, and entrepreneurial spirit. And as I mentioned earlier, for her prolonged and consistent achievements in business and her outstanding business leadership, she was the winner of the 2022 AWIEF Lifetime Achievement Award. Manal has a lot, so much more accolades and everything, but I think we will get into those later. Manal, thank you again and welcome to the first AWIEF Masterclass. This is a masterclass that we give to our AWIEF community as a way of providing more knowledge, inspiration, motivation, and learning. And today, so I think I will start with the question, who is Manal? Okay, so let's start from there. Who is Manal?
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Irene. I would like to thank Rihanna, and thank you for this very nice introduction. And it's my pleasure to be a speaker from the AWIEF network. It's really amazing. Thank you very much for the invitation. Who is Manal? Manal Amin is an Egyptian woman. Started my career in translation in software, the first ever company to do Arabic software. This was the beginning of my career as I graduated. I'm a graduate of political science, but I studied translation, and this is how I started my career. So I worked as an employee for 10 years in this very, very reputable Arab company. That was the first company where I was part of the team that was naming the very first words in IT and computer. What are we going to call the computer? What are we going to call the monitor? Delete, cancel, stop, file, all this. I was part of doing this. It was really my pleasure. And 10 years later, I started my own business with the demand on automation and IT and technology in the Arab region. So this is in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. Manal, that's very interesting. The fact I'm quite fascinated. It's a coincidence, but I also studied translation. Okay. Oh. Yes. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Yes, I studied translation at the University of Trieste, the School for Interpreters. They call it a School for Interpreters and Translators. Okay, so it's a word that has always fascinated me. The word of conferencing, simultaneous and consecutive interpretation, and the rest of them. Localization. I operated also as a freelancer translator, English, Italian. So I love this. Okay, so what motivated you to start your business then, especially in this sector? I can understand your first degree was not even in translation, but then you pivoted to translation. What was the motivation? Why?
Of course, when I started, yes, my degree was in political science, and I had a dream of being an ambassador, and then getting into the diplomatic field. But getting married and having kids was not easy with this job. So I decided to move to my second passion, and translation was my second passion. And I actually studied it parallel. I studied political science and translation parallel in Cairo University and in the American University in Cairo. I was inspired by the people I met. My mentor, Dr. Nabil Ali, was a very famous man who started the very first idea of doing making the computer speaks Arabic. So this was very interesting to me, doing something new, innovative. And I started learning about computers, studying programming, learning some very little, not too much, but what is necessary for my work. So it was really very exciting, and working and the very fast development that happened in the first 10 years from this was between 84 and 94. The computers started to spread very fast at this time. And by the year 94, there were dictionaries, spelling checkers, big projects that I was part of as an employee. I was preparing the material for these big projects. I had a very good team of translation and localization in the Arabic field. So at this time, early 90s, mid 90s, all big companies started to be interested in selling their products in the Middle East. So to sell your product in the Arab countries, the Gulf region, the rich Gulf region, of course, then they started thinking of having their products in Arabic. And I was one of the very first who did that. So I got offers from different companies, the big names that started, and I got offers to go to the States, to go to Ireland, to go to the Dubai. But I was a mother for 2 kids, and this was not easy. So I told them, why not start working from Cairo? And to my surprise, all these big names, they liked the idea to have me as a freelancer working with them, for them remotely. And of course, internet was not working at that time. So it was by fax and by international calls. In 1 year time, I started having some contracts as a freelancer. So, but the companies needed to have a company, the big ones, the big names that wanted to do their software in Arabic. They said, you have to be a company. So why not? Let's establish the company. And I was encouraged by some family members. And I started establishing the company with the 3 persons, two more people from my team in the previous job. And we started doing the very first projects, software, translating software into Arabic. So this was the beginning. This was really very important, because when people told me, what's this business? Everybody is using computers in English. Why should someone using a computer go for Arabic language? I told them, let's look far. Let's have sight. I saw that this will happen. Automation is coming. Technology will be widespread. And the Arabic speaker community is only 10% of it speaking English. So how come people will move into the new era of automation and of using technology? So this was really it was an incentive for me. The passion of the language, of course, and I love Arabic as a language. And I thought that every person in the region, every Arabic speaker, even if they don't know other languages, they have the right to use the latest technology. So it was part of it, business and demand, and part of it was real passion of the development of my community or my country forward.
Fascinating. You know, the things I can pick up now from what you have said is talk of preparation meeting opportunity. You know, because first you were prepared, and then the opportunities were coming up, and then you are grabbing them. You prepared yourself, and then having a vision, foresight. You know, being able to see that people were saying, why we can read the computers, we can read the products, specifications, everything in English, but you saw much further ahead. I do not remember now if by 1994, when you were starting, if already the Arabic language was one of the UN official languages, because that was also, and it still is, an opportunity for translation and interpretation. Be it is one of the UN official languages, so everything that is happening must have also an Arabic language part of it. I know that was all the things that were attractors, you know, especially people like me, you know, into the word of translation and the interpretation. So that is good. And then the passion. So you are also telling us that having a passion for what you want to do and what you are doing is critical. Having a vision, having foresight, seeing beyond the immediate, seeing where and how the market can get you is very important. So thank you for that. Then I would want you to tell us too, what were the most important catalysts for you in growing the business? Okay, this is more or less what you have said, but what were those things that made you want to step out of Cairo to take the business, global to other Middle East and European borders?
You see, at the beginning, this business, technology and IT was all American, European, was not, of course, coming out of the Middle East. So it was very important to do this transfer in knowledge and to do things in Arabic. So the clients were all outside Egypt, outside the Middle East. So that's why when I was offered the job to do it in each and every company of these outside. But I thought, and this is how I convinced them, that getting it in our region, it will be easier. We will have too many Arabic speakers. We will have more employees. We will have cheaper prices. So this what made me go out. In the beginning, I started on those I knew who sent me work. And then after a couple of years, I found out that I have to go find clients. The first 2-3 years were very tough because, okay, I have a project, I finished the project, then it came and the company I was working for was acquired by another company. So I had no work. It was a real shock. I am coming from the technical background. I am not a marketeer or a management person from the beginning. So I was not expecting that. Okay, I got a client, very big names, and then all of a sudden, this company was acquired and the line of production stopped, and oh my God. So I'm doing nothing. So I had to think of how to overcome this problem. I started looking for doing things that I was dreaming of in Egypt. So doing software in Arabic. My company was the first to do an introduction or educational software in Arabic. So I started doing these tutorials of self-training, but in 1995, 96, this was a bit premature. The market was premature, was not ready to get what I started doing. And of course, it was very tough time because I was dreaming and I was running very fast, but at the same time, the community and it's not moving at the same pace like my dreams. So it was a big problem. The solution was at that time to go reach out to the international companies. This starts, and this I always give when I do mentoring to young ladies, don't be afraid to go out. It was very scary at the beginning that I start looking for conferences, big events, organizations and associations of localization outside in the outside world, and started attending. So attending international events in my field helped me to meet new people, helped me to attend lectures, to see the latest going on in the market, what's happening there. And it was around that time in 97, 98, 99, that they used to call me the Lady of Arabic because I was the only one talking about Arabic at that time in all these conferences. People were even astonished. Oh, you're coming from the Middle East, you're a woman, you own a company. It was not something that people know about happening in. No, so I started moving and visiting companies individually, going and asking for the big funds, of course, that's working in Egypt to promote exports. Okay, so this is service export. And my country was always, as any country, looking to export. So I started to join organizations in Egypt and bodies promoting exports, and convince them that what I'm doing is export. Nobody knew about it at that time. And at the same time, I go attend internationally events there. In some countries, there was, after a few years, there was a need to have a permanent office. So what we thought at that time, that we have someone in Europe. Yes, it's a very small office with one person or two persons doing promotion, attending events, representing ARABIZE, meeting clients. And of course, my continuous travels. At that time, in the late 90s, I used to travel every month, trying to say that, come on, Arabic is important. We are a 300 million population, and you are going to cater technology for all these. And it was a surprise to some companies. They never expected to have all this number of speakers that we need to talk to them, and technology needs to transfer to them. So this is what pushed me out, looking for clients, the obstacles I faced at the beginning. And I knew that I have to go shop for clients and for business outside. So I started going to the States, to different European countries, look for organizations to join. And this is how then have representation. And at the end, I think we succeeded maybe over 10 years ago to have also to be part of consortiums. This was also important, because if you just have a 1 or 2 person representation, it's different from joining a consortium of successful companies working in different languages of the world. So ARABIZE was part of one of these consortiums based in Germany. So this is how it went on with the years.
Fascinating, fascinating. So it's about also your resilience. You know, when you encountered the first, we usually say failure, but this was not failure. It's just one of the things that, like during COVID, many businesses found themselves zeroed. Okay, you are back to square one. So it's either you give up or you find a way to pivot, to go on. And it's the resilience, you know, that persisting and not giving up. So it's important. And then not being afraid to step out of our comfort zone. You said something, do not be afraid to go out. And this is what we are also preaching to our entrepreneurs, that they must step out of their comfort zone, especially now that Africa is open. There is the intra-African trade, the AFCA is there, you know, for us to leverage and all that, so that we shouldn't be afraid to step out. And you have been pioneering in this language technology and language service provision. We have pioneering not only in Egypt, but also in the whole of the Middle East, and the women at that, okay? And the women at that, and you have built it to such a big thing. Tell me, what was it like being a woman entrepreneur, an Egyptian woman entrepreneur? What were the peculiar challenges that you had to deal with? And how did you deal with them?
So many challenges, but it's nice when I speak about it now. And I'm happy that young girls now starting their businesses, they are totally different from my generation, by the way. Of course, there was the challenge of being a mother and the challenge of having a family, and the older people in the family, like the parents and the uncles and aunts, they were not, what are you doing? You've been an employee in a big company with very big salary and definite working times. Why do you do that to yourself? I had the passion, I saw the opportunity, and I was ready to take the challenges. The challenges were, of course, taking care of my kids and giving them the time, my house, my family, my husband. We are a Middle Eastern community. Maybe young ones do not know that, but it was very hard for a woman to come late at night to the house, to drive alone at night, to have a delivery date that we have to take the delivery. So we sleep over in office and we stay up till the morning to finish the delivery. It was very tough. At some times I used to notice that the porter at the door, at the gate of the house, is not happy. He's just looking at me. He's not happy seeing this woman going out up to her apartment at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. But I had to prove to people that, yes, I'm a mother. It happened sometimes that I used to come in the morning when I had a delivery time, at the time of the school bus taking my kids. So I have to arrive home at 5 a.m. before the school bus comes to get them ready and have the sandwiches and prepare the lunchbox. So on this level, the family part, it was really very challenging. And it's the persistence that I will do the job and I'll take care of my kids. And sometimes my children never knew that I'm not at home. I go back home at 7:38, I put them to bed, then I go to office back, then I come at 5 a.m. to wake them up, prepare the lunchbox, and get them ready to school. It was really tough, but now they laugh about it. I laugh about it. They learned, my kids learned the value of work, the value of persistence. And there was a time that I had no revenues at all, and revenues were very bad. Then we had to squeeze our budgets, then we go up with our budgets. But they enjoy the results now, and they are proud of that. Also, another challenge was traveling and moving around. So of course, I was part of the board of the Egyptian IT Association. So I stayed on the board for 6 years, one only woman in a board of 15 persons, so 14 men and a woman. The same with the Chamber of Commerce. The same, I was one woman in a big team of men, and women in IT were not so many. They had very good positions, and there were a lot of programmers, but on the top level, on the C level, there weren't many. So at my time, this was really challenging. Going there, proving myself. I felt sometimes when I first joined NGOs in the field, that the board was treating me like a secretary, okay? Manal, can you take the minutes, please? Although I am one of the board, I'm a board member elected, but they always saw women like that. Can you arrange this event for us? It's a woman job. Can you take the minutes of the meeting? It's okay. I had no problem doing that, but I proved to them by time, no, I have to be, I can be the president of this organization or the vice president of this organization, although I am a woman in a Middle Eastern society. It also, there was a big challenge also in traveling abroad and going to meet people, because sometimes the idea about us as Middle Eastern and Africans was not the best in Europe and in the West in general. So you can go to a company and start selling your service, and then they said, but you know, Middle East Africans, you don't have good connectivity, you do not deliver on time, we are hesitant about quality. This was really very challenging. So we had to deliver the highest quality. We had to be very precise on timing and delivery dates. We had to prove that we can do even better than the quality that is done in the West. So it was very challenging on so many levels. On the the country I came from, the region I came from, the background, being a female. So I have to prove against all these. It was challenges, local, international, in the community. But I am very proud to tell you that when this company that I went to in 1999, and the CEO told me, I don't think I like to deal with this part of the world. Regarding quality, regarding time, I had bad experience. This same guy, after 2 years, came and offered to buy my company. He believed in it, and I proved to him that it's really bad, and he offered me to acquire the company, and I refused. It was a bit of a pride. Sometimes
what a satisfaction, you know? What a satisfaction. I always say that the best thing in life is doing what people say that you cannot do. You have just spoken about so many challenges, and these are the challenges, you know, being a woman, but then you said you had a passion, you saw an opportunity, and you were ready for the challenges, okay? So, and it's all about that. You see, everything that you had to go through as a woman, a young woman with raising children, and in our African society, whether it's North Africa, Middle East, or Sub-Saharan Africa, usually the whole extended family is part of the package, you know. So, so unlike maybe in the West, an uncle or a distant uncle shouldn't have a say in your life at all. If the person says anything, you can close the door and say, please get out. But not in our, not in our in most of our African societies and families. It's everybody will come to tell you, you're a woman, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, you know, this and this and this and that. But some of us who resist all that and are able to balance those things, because for it to succeed anyway, you need to be able to balance family and work and business. You have to prove, go to that extent, you know, do more than necessary to prove that you can balance both. You have just told us how the kids sometimes didn't even know that you were not in the house, because you would come back at 7 p.m., give them dinner, put them to bed, and then go back to the work while they sleep. And you are back before they go to school. So they don't even get to know that mommy was not, you know, spend the whole night working. So that is fantastic. I wanted to ask you the question about how important quality is, but I think you already delved into that. You answered that question, how important quality is to building something, excellence, you know, because I wanted to ask that question because I saw that you have, your ARABIZE has a lot of certifications, ISO and all that, you know, but you have already explained to us the importance of quality, the importance of quality assurance, the importance of delivering excellence to your clients and the customers. And that's
it's in building.
Yeah.
While building the company, yes, while training the employees, yes, it's the company values. Quality is one of the very important. So you build values. I am very proud to tell you that ARABIZE has developed a reputation. Maybe the reputation is bigger than the size of the company, because we were working very hard on a very high level. We were focusing on quality, on all dimensions, on the human part, the human relationship between the employees, and how come they are dedicated. I had always very dedicated staff. I had people who used to sleep overnight with me in office and stay till the morning in shifts to finish things. They take the spirit from the leader. Yes. So I have to convey this message of quality. We do not accept medium quality. It's totally unacceptable. Even if it will cost us more, even it will make our profits less, but it has to be up to the quality so that we can compete on the international level. It's very important because, you know, I told you, you know, people, when they have this idea about Africa and Middle East, and, you know, they had this idea that we are not doing the best. No, we can do the best. We can too. I had once a company that the managers told me, thanks to you, that Arabic became tier 1 language. You know, tier means, of course, because you worked in translation, you know, yes, products used long ago to come out in English. And then after a few months comes the French, the German, the Arabic used to come after a year, for example, because it's not high priority and it takes time. Yeah. Working with one of the very big names, I don't know, I have the freedom to say the names or not. So one of the very big companies of my first clients, I started with them when Arabic was tier 5 language. So it used to come after a year or two. Yeah. But with the very fast phase of development of software and versions come after one another, I got this email saying, thanks to ARABIZE, Arabic became tier 1 language. So we are capable to work parallel with them, to be under very high pressure. So English comes first. We do it and we release it with the English. Although we do it after them, but we release the same time. So I received this mail in 1997 or 98 saying, thanks to ARABIZE, Arabic became tier 1 language. So this was, I'm really proud of this.
Yes, no, you must be very proud of what you have built. It's incredible. And please, Manal, I would like you to, because there may be some people in the audience who do not really understand what it is, the localization, the translation, this language service provision and everything. And what do you think are the opportunities there for other women in Africa that they can tap into? Do you still, today, you started way back in the 90s when you were a pioneer in the sector, I would say not only even in Egypt, but in the whole of Africa, because I was in Europe, so my translation, studying and everything, it was in Europe. And in Africa, it wasn't, even now, okay? If you have to get, you are hosting a conference here in Cape Town, and you need interpretation services, sometimes you have to go as far away as Addis Ababa or Cairo or whatever to bring down an interpreter. They are not yet as many. But so what do you think are the opportunities in your sector that other women can tap into?
I believe we have very good opportunity. I told you before in a conversation that in 2005, around the years in 2005, I worked with a Canadian program in African Sub-Saharan, and they were working, it was a development program. But the very nice thing about it that they thought at that time in 2005, 2007, around this time, that localization is one of the means of development. Maybe I tell the people who don't know what is localization. Localization is to get any product done in any country in the local market. So the local adaptation of it includes everything: the language, the style, the terminology, the photos, the graphics. You will take an international product, maybe produced in England or in UK or in the US, and then you make it suitable for your market. So, for example, I know that Coca-Cola, that McDonald's, when they go to other countries, they adapt their product to suit the local market. This is what we do in software. So we do translation, and at the same time, we do other technological things, especially with indigenous languages and languages which is not common of like the Latin ones. So for Arabic, for example, it's right to left, it's connected characters, it has different style. So, and this, of course, we have, Africa has more than 2,000 languages, and some of them are heavily used. So at that time, this project thought that being in local language is very important for the development of these communities. If you want to go to rural areas where women need to use technology for health, for education, to help their kids with something, to use technology to have access to any information, you need to be in their local language. So I really, really encourage African women, and I see the demand now on African languages. I can remember that at that time, 2004 and 5, there were some languages which didn't even have a code page. They are not on computers. But you have great researchers in so many universities working on this, having tools for translation, having making some languages on the computers. Some African languages are used now in so many on the internet. You can see Swahili is very famous, Zulu is very famous, Hausa is very famous. There are languages that's very famous, and there are languages that's coming on. At that time, I was working with this fund, trying to tell or to train the African language researchers and translators on how to move this into a job, into a commercial thing, how to price the wording, how to train more and more translators, how to get them into technology, how to get them connected to the international organizations. And I did a big conference, arranged a big conference in Cairo at that time with an African track for African languages, where we made like matching international companies like Microsoft, Oracle, IBM, with the researchers working on African languages. I think Africa has a big, big opportunity. And language is always a job of women more than men. We can see that. There are lots of women in translation and localization industry. So we have to do this matching, where African women should go out, and they started already. I know a number of African companies that's doing great in localization, but there's still opportunities, and there are more. And they need to have more, and they need to be trained more, because when I get a request in African languages, if the 2 or 3 companies that I know are busy, it's a problem. The delivery rate is an issue. So yes, African women, you have a great opportunity to get to the localization market, but you have to get connected. You have to know how to brand yourself. You have to know how to get out of your comfort zones. Go to the international organizations. It's much easier now. I'm not talking about my time. My time was really tough, but now it's much easier. Connectivity is very high. Search online is very good. We have big organizations all over the world, the American Association, the Gala Association, the European Association. So, and I now see so many Africans in the events. I think it's really, and recently the big association called Gala, the Global Association, Globalization and Localization Association. I was on its board for some time, and I was the first one coming from the Arab, African, and Middle East region. But now, this year, there were nominees from Africa. I elected them myself because I believe that African women have big potential.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. 2 more questions before we try to go into a Q&A. Okay, in our work as AWIEF, working with women, training, supporting with different programs, and including the conference and everything, we have identified some challenges, some key issues. One is accessing finance. One is accessing market, for your product. Third one is lack of entrepreneurial skills. For you, starting off and building your company, which one of these 3 was your biggest challenge, and how did you solve it?
Access to market. I can say because the type of business I'm in was not very financially demanding. It doesn't need a lot of money. At the beginning, it didn't need a lot of money. You can start and grow gradually. But access to market was the biggest challenge, as I see it, because how to go out, how to reach to international companies, how to convince them you're the best, how to start the job, how to continue when the work is less, because so many people, they start and they're up and running, and when they have a problem, they just crash and they lose hope, shut down. And this happened a lot. I've seen it a lot. But how to face the challenge and pick up again, it's not easy. It's really tough. But access to market is the only solution. We should learn how to get a number of clients. So when I lose one, I find the other. I learned this the hard way, because at the beginning, when I lost my client, I had nothing because I had one client. I learned since then not to depend on one client and to keep moving and moving and get more and more clients. So either grow or die. So access to market, I see the highest, and then comes the others.
Yeah. Okay. Now, thank you for that, because for some people, like you just explained, it depends on your industry, on your business. So it could be, for some people, it's skills. For others, it's finance. For others, market. Okay.
They are all important, Irene. They are all important. I just said in my job.
To attend the events and all that, you needed finance. You have to spend. You were investing. Okay, so they are all important. And they are all huge challenges, huge barriers, you know, that women encounter in a peculiar way, in a particular way, operating businesses, not only in Africa, but some of them also go are global. Access to finance funding is a global phenomenon. It's not only limited to Africa. Market skills, and we will come. I now, which brings me to the fourth element, which is network. Okay, you are a board member of Business Women of Egypt, a member of the steering committee of an Angels Investing Network, Angel Investors. Egypt's Tier Angels, Egypt's first Women Angel Investment Network. You are a member of the Women Entrepreneurs Network and so many others. You sit on 1,001 boards. You have spoken about always being the only woman in the boardroom at the table. Okay, it was happening then in the 90s. You would find yourself one with 14 men. Even today, we have few women always sitting on those boardroom tables. So how do we bring gender into the boardroom? Is a continuous conversation, is a continuous issue. So being on this, tell us how important is belonging to these women-focused networks? You know, how important is it? And what kind of value do you derive from them? What can you tell our entrepreneurs that how important is being part of a network?
This is critical. The only time when I had my company growing was when I started joining networks, joining NGOs, associations, getting to meetings, getting to networks, local and international. So, and now things with the internet are much easier. Maybe we had crisis during COVID and we all had tough time, but we had the blessing of having the internet. This blessing of having connectivity made a big difference. Now I can see that 50 women are joining this talk. They can't travel. They can't go to other countries, maybe they financially or physically or visa issues or anything. So now in this case, I have to tell you all, any entrepreneur, you have to go to all types of networking events that you can find. Don't think of any of them as not important. And anyway, you will listen to a new piece of information. You will meet someone who can help you with something. You can learn about a new software, about a new technology in your field. So you have to have two sets of networking bodies or events. One set is the one that is in your business. So be part of the networks of your business. Like if you are in any certain industry, be part of the NGO working on this locally and internationally. And the women networks now are very powerful, very powerful. It's the time. I am not speaking about my time. I'm speaking about now. Now, ladies, entrepreneurs, you're lucky. I always say that in events. You're lucky. You have internet, you have Zoom, you have access, you have online events, you have information, you have LinkedIn to get linked to everybody. You have Facebook, you have blah, 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 whatever. So please, this is the most important. If you're looking to access not only to markets, it's access to information. It's access to the latest technology. We learn about latest technologies from events. I know it's not easy at the beginning. When the first event I went to, I was shaking and my heart beats were very high. I can't even come to someone and say, hi, I am Manal Amin. I was shaking. It was scary, but overcome it. Do it once, twice, 3 times, and you will get the courage. I know that the current generation is more courageous than our generation, but still be bold. If you feel confident and go to networks, and gender networks are very important, and technical and across industry. So the pair industry network is very important. So this is where you will make your knowledge. Sometimes we think that we are doing great, but when we see others, oh, still we need to develop. So networking and networking and networking, local and international.
Yes, networking, networking, and networking. And women, you've had it, be bold, be confident. And times like Manal, you have said, times are different now. I think we are luckier. Women entrepreneurs are luckier in present times. It is the time. The women agenda is almost driving men crazy, you know, hearing about these things. So we are, the power is in our hands. Thank you for that. My last question before we finally go into Q&A is on mentorship. Did you, along your way, receive mentorship, and how important was that for you? And are you involved in then? Are you a mentor to other mentees? You know, what is mentorship like for you?
Mentorship is very important factor. It's very important factor. I had a mentor, maybe at that time it was not called mentorship, and it did not have, but I had a mentor, technically the one that helped me join this job because it was totally new. Nobody had idea what's this. So I had a mentor who taught me this job, got me into this business at the first beginning. And when he got me in, I told him, what's this strange job, computers, Arabic? I haven't seen any computer in my life. And he told me, Manal, in 10 years time, you will come and thank me. And then in 10 years time, I had my company. So I went and thanked him. So this is a mentor. And on the financial and business level, I had another mentor, but this was family member who helped me and mentored me and taught me finance for non-financial, and told me how to do my business and how can I do the numbers and the figures. So I had mentors through my life on the business level and on the technical level. I do mentorship. I do mentorship informal and formal. I am part of a mentor group, which is within Women Entrepreneur Network. And I do a lot of mentoring for women who are starting their business, women and men, by the way. Any young person who comes and tell me I'm establishing a business, I do mentorship for them. Mentorship, ladies, go for mentorship in different levels, and you will find different types of mentors. You will need someone to guide you in the financial things when you are first starting and you need to learn about the basic financial things. Go to people in the technical level who are ready to give. There are people who are giving by nature, givers. So look for them, find mentors on different levels. They will help. And there are now lots of people studying mentor. They are certified mentors. So please look for them, and you will find them in networks again.
There are certified mentors and coaches, and platforms like ours. We also provide with our programs mentorship, and sometimes it's necessary to even pay for it, you know, because you invest to reap. You invest in yourself and in your business, and it's very valuable. Thank you, Manal, for that. I think we can take questions now. Rihanna, how do we go about this?
I can go to the questions. Thank you so much, Irina. Manal. I can listen to you two powerhouses talk all day. I feel inspired. I feel motivated to be brave and get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to squeeze in my own question before I go to the Q&As. Manal, you start as an entrepreneur, you start your journey alone, but along the way, you gather a team around you. What are the most important people who are on this journey with you? Not people, but the attributes of the people that you've surrounded yourself with.
it was very important that when I was alone, when I got people the first level, we look for people that characters that get along with you, the characters that have passion for the job, people who are ready to go with you the hard way. Sometimes there are people I had in my hard times at the beginning, in the tough times, people who came in sometimes and told me, we need salaries. We don't want the salary. And I was really feeling pity for them that I have tough times. So why they stay with me for some time. And then when I can't, I just looked for a job for them, got them a job, because I know it was hard. But those who don't have responsibility, they took with me the hard time, and we were dividing the few pounds that came among us. So it's important to talk to people, to find the chemistry between you and them, to get the leaders who will be the leaders with you, and choose them very well. The chemistry should be getting along. They should have passion. They should be professional, appreciating your values, because having values is very important, and values should match between the team. Yes, when the team grows, you cannot exactly do that. You cannot do it this precise as you did it when it was 4 or 5 persons. Now, when in 100 people, no, it's different when you grow up. But still, the very first thing we tell people is, these are our values. Please note that if you're not getting along with our values, you'll not be able to continue with this. So choosing people, selecting people, giving them the right example, be the role model to your team. Don't ask the team to sleep over in office while you are sleeping at home. Don't ask the team to do very high quality while you are not doing very high quality. So it's the leader should be, the entrepreneur himself or herself should be the role model.
Exemplary leadership. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you, guys. I encourage you to raise your hand if you want to ask your question, or type it in the Q&A. We've got a question here from Nakuzola. In an industry such as yours, how do you ensure that employees do not take clients away from your business to set up their own operations?
You see, it happens sometimes, and it happened I've seen it in some companies. Honestly speaking, it didn't happen to me. But it happened with some companies that people take the clients. It depends how you build the relationship with the client. So the relationship with the client is built with the leaders, the team leaders that you trust. And the quality that is delivered to the client is not from one person. The quality is from the system. Make sure that your system of work and the cycle of work at your place is the thing that you deliver to the client. You do not deliver from one person. We never do that. There is a technical job, there is a design job, there is a linguistic job, there is a quality control job. So at the end, no one person can do it all for the client. So it's the system you build that the client deal with. The client trusts the system and not the person. I remember that once I left, first time I leave my office for a month, and the client was scared. One of the clients said, how come the company, and it was very small at that time. I told her I have a team that can manage. And when I came back after a month, I remember I got a message saying, thank you, Manal. Now you can say that ARABIZE is a company. It became a company when you have a system and when everybody has a role, and then you deliver from the whole team. So but of course, you cannot just prevent. Sometimes someone may come and go and give very low price to the client. And if the client cares for the price, it's okay with him. Let them care for the price. It's different.
It's different. They don't deserve you then. Exactly. Yeah, I love that. And by the way, Rihanna, before you go to the other question, I just have to let Manal, in case she hasn't read this. This is from probably somebody from your team. as I worked with you around 22 years, I see that all new generation inherits the passion and good spirit from you. Love your character, dear. Okay, so
thank you.
Oh, no,
I
22 years is not 2 years. Okay, Rihanna,
thank you.
go ahead with the questions.
Okay, you were talking about pricing and other people charging less. For service type businesses, Neo's asking, for service type businesses, how to charge can be a challenge. How do you circumvent this, especially when you are crossing borders?
My personal advice in pricing is that you do the pricing yourself, because sometimes if you're cross borders, you're abroad, you're outside, maybe you have a cheaper community. So this is an asset for you. It can make you get the job easier, but you do your pricing according to your cost. You have to say, for example, I am doing this job, Manal's hour is for that sum of money, and the other colleague who participated had, if I am an employee with a salary. So I say that my hour is this cost that much and the other hour cost, and I calculate all the cost, okay? And then see the overheads, the electricity, the things, I know my cost also, and you add a profit margin to it. And add a profit margin that, you see, normally it's between 20 to 30%, because you don't, it's not normally you don't have this 20 to 30, but you add 20 to 30% profit margin, and you see this market, this price, and compare it to the market price. So don't go very low and don't go very high. You calculate your cost, add your overheads cost, and then add 30% or 25 to 30. It will help you. It will be less, but at the first calculations, do it like that. And then compare this to the international price. You have to do your market study very well. When you are doing pricing, go find the market prices, shop for prices. You can go to companies and tell them, I need this service. And you see how much they charge. So you are able to compare. And my advice, don't go too low, don't go too high, because there are always expenses more than your expectations. There will always be expenses. Sometimes you can take a job without any profit. And this is, I tell my mentees that if the project is very important, if I want to work for a certain name, a big company that will give me experience, that will be a good resource, so I'll use it afterwards in sales and marketing. You can work with cost at sometimes, and sometimes with loss, in order to build your reference list. Afterwards, when you are on top of the market, dictate your price.
You name your price. So it's not always about money. Sometimes we need to invest, and other times we can take on a job for a key partnership, for example. You know, we have done it, and I see it work. Okay, so it's not always that money has to be, profit has to be the first thing on the line. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to the last question, I think, because we are running out of time. Manal, I'm sure you've pitched your business 100 times, maybe 1,000 times in your life. Lorata asks, what are the most important points when delivering an elevator pitch, especially for funding?
Yes, I pitched a lot, but there are very important points. It depends, of course, on the audience. You know, who are you talking to? If you're talking to entrepreneurs, you have to focus on the entrepreneurship thing, so that how they start their business, what the challenges and how they face the challenges. Talking about prices, it's very important, and it's one of the important topics, pricing and profits. One of the important also points that people don't ask much about it, but I like to highlight, it's the corporate responsibility. So at certain time, at the beginning of building the business, you're very busy building your business and making profits and paying salaries. At a certain level, when the company starts growing, you have to think of how to give back. So the corporate responsibility, for example, in companies like ours, we go to universities and we teach. We take internship. We train people on latest technology in translation and in language technologies. We do some things, as Irene was saying, without profit, no money feedback. But I always like to highlight this, that when you reach a certain level and you're not striving, not the very first phase, you start thinking of how to give to the community, how to have an association that you do public work and donate your time to help others. And it's what goes comes back.
Thing, you know, it becomes actually something that brings joy to you, and
yes,
when you are seeing the impact on people's lives, you know, livelihoods, that you are a part of changing, no matter how small, you know, the contribution, but giving back, you know, in our lives is very important.
Very important. Very important.
And
public work, joining networks like NGOs and doing public work in these places, being parts of associations, and it's very important.
It's very important. It's very important. Thank you for that. So we'll be rounding up if we don't have any more questions. Manal, just before we close, you have given us a lot of nuggets. You have shared a lot of insights. Just what is just in one sentence, what is your best advice that you have for our entrepreneurs?
My best advice always is follow your passion. It will be very hard for you to succeed if you are doing a job that you're not passionate about, because this what makes you take all the shocks and all the challenges and overcome. So please follow your passion, get out of your comfort zone, and believe in yourselves.
Great. Follow your passion, get out of your comfort zone, and believe in yourself. In other words, be confident. Okay. Thank you so much, Manal. It's been such a pleasure. I mean, chatting with you, having this conversation with you. You don't know how I feel. I thank you very much. I hope to see you again very soon in Cairo or elsewhere on the African continent, because we are part of that ecosystem, and I follow your advice. I get out of my comfort zone. I network. I attend events. We are my team, myself and my team, we host AWIEF, and we want to see more people participate, more people be a part of the AWIEF community, because network is critical. Coming out and meeting people and chancing all those opportunities that you never know when they come, but you must be prepared. So thank you for sharing with us and inspiring us and motivating us. And
thank you.
We hope to have you again. We hope to see you again for mentoring opportunities and for just supporting us as a community, as AWIEF. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, AWIEF, and all those who are attending today and gave me this time. I am very, very happy. You're really leaving me full of enthusiasm. You are inspiring me. Thank you very much, and looking forward to our next meetings, next talks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining us, and good evening, and best of luck with your businesses. I hope you take all the everything that we have learned from Manal today. Thank you.